All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy new month to you all, and welcome to today's Monday market breakdown. Please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section. And if my screen is visible enough, please let me know in the comment section. I think I've been having issue with my network, so please let's confirm now. Please, let's confirm now. If you can see my screen, please let me know. And if you can hear me loud and clear, please do well to let me know too, please. Let me know if I'm audible enough, please. All right. Because I was having a little network issue. Okay, so as usual, let's go straight into business. At least last week was a very good week. I believe all those that joined the live section for last week and those on the free Telegram group, we all made a lot of funds. BTC gave us something very, very good. So let's start with BTC for the week. Okay, so we'll go down to the 1 hour as usual. Sorry, the weekly. Okay, so here we are on the weekly time frame, and if you look at on the weekly time frame, looking at the most recent price action, you see that what we have this demand level on the weekly time frame. Here on the weekly time frame, this was the last break of structure we had to the upside. So going down to the daily, because on the weekly the market has already tapped into the weekly demand zone, but as you know, we are not swing traders, so we can't take our trade from based on the weekly level. So we'll be going down to the daily time frame. Let's see the most recent price action on the daily time frame. So coming to the daily time frame, this zone will be refined to this last candle week, because if you look at this candle here, if you look at this candle, I don't know if it's visible enough, but if you look at this candle here, this is the candlestick that swept liquidity beneath these other candles. Let me zoom it so you get to see what I'm saying. If you look at this point, this was where we had the sweep of liquidity, and this candle was the last candle that took out this low before so this was like the last sell before the buy momentum we had to the upside, having this push to the upside, which led to the break of market structure at this point, the market structure at this point. Now if you look at this part, you have this liquidity resting below. We have our liquidity resting at this point on the daily time frame. We are trying to look at where we should be expecting possible reversal on BTC. And don't forget, we are not going in without entry confirmation. Now looking at the daily time frame, what can you also see? I can see a fair value gap at this point. If you look at this part, let me turn on my highlighter. Okay, so if you look at this part here where this highlighter is, what will you see? You will see there's a fair value gap on the daily time frame, and you have our liquidity before this fair value gap, or before our daily order block. And that is exactly what we want to see. We want to see liquidity, fair value gap. I want to see a momentum to the upside, which tells you that this zone is a high probability setup. This is a high probability setup. So looking from the previous high. Let's look at the sell order before going down to the 4 hours time frame, then the 1 hour, which is our entry time frame. So looking at this point, you have this was where we had the last break of structure on daily time frame. This was where we had the last break of structure before we had this change of character on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, we already have a clear picture of what we are looking for. We want to see this price drop all the way to the downside on daily time frame. But don't forget that price will not just move straight to the daily time frame all the way down. You will definitely have maybe possible retracement to the upside, maybe to this point, before you now have a drop to the downside. And that is why we'll be going down to the 4 hours and then to the 4 hours. Please, I'm just seeing a comment saying my mic is breaking. Please, let's confirm if I'm audible enough, please, before I proceed, please. If I'm audible enough, let me know in the comment, please. Is my mic better now? Better now, let me know, please. Is my mic better now? Please let me know before I proceed, please. Okay, I'm audible enough. Okay. All right, so let's step down to the 4 hours to actually see the price, what was happening on the 4 hours time frame. Or we step down to the 1 hour. All right. So looking at the most recent price action on the 4 hours time frame, what can we see? We have first, we need to look at the last high. This was the last high we had to the upside. We had a change of character sitting at this point. After that change of character, we had a break of structure to the downside, which confirms that price is bearish to the downside, and price kept on breaking structures to the downside. We had another break of structure at this point to the downside, and this is the last break of structure we are having to the downside on 4 hours. And this is what we want to look at, the most recent price action. What we have here is just maybe a market sweep, which we will look at on the 1 hour time frame to actually get a precise entry confirmation. All right, so back to the 1 hour. Previously on the 1 hour time frame, for the last week market structure, we are expecting a sell from this point. So what was our bias? We were expecting this push from this point to come back to this point to actually give us the sell to the downside. But market didn't return back to our point of interest. And what did we do? Having this break of structure on 1 hour at this point, having this break of structure on 1 hour, if you look at this point, we had this week here, and this week swept this other low, which tells you that this low has been transferred to this point. So this was where we had our break of structure at this point, and this was our liquidity. This was our liquidity. All of these highs were our liquidity, and this was how we got the sell we dropped on the group, on the free Telegram group. If you're not on the free Telegram group, check the pin post. We made a lot of money on BTC last week, and that was how we were able to get this sell at this point. That was how we were able to get this sell all the way to this low. And now, what was our bias for today? What are we looking at for today? For today price action, or for this week price action, first, we have to take note that this is the last low that was taken out. And now we have this new what? This new low. Let's mark our trading range first. For our trading range, this is the last low sitting here. This is the last low sitting at this point. And what do you want to see? We have this what? Nice momentum at this point. And don't be deceived to put your what? Order block at this point. That's a liquidity point. That's a liquidity point. And that's what institutional traders want to do. They want to deceive you, making you what? To take the early what? The early sells. So if you can see, we have what? We have our fair value gap. We have our fair value gap at this point sitting here. We have our fair value gap sitting here. We have what? Our liquidity at this point resting at this high. You should know that where you have a candle wick, that's what? A liquidity point. So you have to be very, very careful when taking a trade from such point of interest. So where is our order block? This is our order block we want to see. This is where we want to see the market what? Retrace into. So for now, we have no business with what the market is playing around, because at this point, getting a clear buy is something you have to be very, very careful of. So for us to actually maybe look out for possible buy on BTC, we want to see a break. We want to see a break above this what? This high, which will give us what? A change of character. So having a change of character on this point, you should know that whatever you are doing, it's like what? Internal price movement. You are trading what? A minor what? Pullback to the upside. So till this high is taken out, we can't take any buy on BTC. And what was the criteria for us taking the buy? We already have what? This fair value gap. We have this liquidity the market has to take out. So that's what will enable us to actually take a buy when we have what? A change of character here, then a confirmation into the other block before what? Taking the buy. But I'll be more interested in what? Taking the sell, because what? A lot of times you can actually what? Think you want to be smart, whereby taking this buy and what? The market will just continue to the downside. So the market is bearish overall. From what? The daily, the market is bearish, leading to what? The other block we just marked below. And on the 4 hours, the market is still bearish. Coming down to the 1 hour, which is what? Our entry time frame, the market is still bearish. So if you want to be updated or stay positioned when we'll be taking this particular trade, don't forget to join what? The Telegram channel. It's free. It's not a paid VIP channel. So just join the Telegram channel so that once the trade is cooked and it's being shared on what? The group, you also what? Gets to benefit from it. For those that actually took the trade we took, that was last week Thursday or Friday, that was like a 1:4.8. Made a lot of cool cash on BTC last week. So let's move over to Ethereum. And for those that also took the buy order we shared on PNB last week, they made a lot of money too. But that was not shared on the Telegram channel, because I basically share only trades I'm taking on the community. They are only trades I'm taking. Those are the only trades I get to share on the community. I don't trade anything outside of USD JPY, GBP JPY, and BTC. That's why I don't see me share any other setup there. Alright, so we are on Ethereum. Okay. So overall, looking at the most recent price action on Ethereum, let's zoom to the left hand side to actually see. Okay, so overall on Ethereum, we was very, very bearish. We are bearish on Ethereum. So looking at this price action, we have what? This was the last order block we have on Ethereum on the daily time frame. We had what? This break of structure to the upside. We had another what? Break of structure to the upside. So if I'm to look at this price action, this should serve as my inducement on the daily time frame. So let's step down to the 4 hours. So coming to the 4 hours, what can we see? So on the 4 hours, we can see that what after we had this liquidity sweep at this point, after you have this liquidity sweep, there was what market change of character on 4 hours at this point. After having the change of character on 4 hours, we had what this break of structure here to the downside. Let's see if this was a change of character or market sweep. Okay, so this was what another break of structure, which tells us that what the market is moving to the downside. And looking at this part, this is what another block on what 4 hours. So let's go down to the 1 hour to actually see what price is doing and to see if we'll be able to get any possible trade entry for today or for the week. Alright, so we are here on the 1 hour time frame, and what can we see on Ethereum? From this part, from here to this part, that's one leg of price. You have to understand that this is a leg of price. So whatever happens within this part is what internal price action, because this was like our trending range, this low and this high, which market came into this other block here. So from that point, you should know that once you have this low, this is what your next target if you were to take a shot from this point. So all of this movement here till this point, they are all internal price action. So let's look at the internal price action. So at this point, you had a change of character, internal change of character. Had another break of structure to the downside, another break of structure here to then we have another break of structure here to the downside. If you look at where the market is expecting or reacting from, market is reacting from what? This supply zone. Market is reacting from that supply zone. Meanwhile, we have this supply zone here. Please a sec. Okay. So market is reacting from what? This supply zone. And if you look at this supply zone that the market is reacting from, there was liquidity at this point. But if you want to look at the momentum where we have the momentum coming from on this particular setup, we have this nice momentum coming here, and there is a fair value gap. So I will still be looking at Ethereum to actually come back into this zone. This zone has already been mitigated. That means if market should return back to this point, what we have here is our liquidity. What we have here is our liquidity. Don't forget. So this is what we have here. So having this liquidity tells you that what this is the zone that is still valid. So this is possible sell we should be looking at for on this part. Our SL above this high because there is liquidity resting above our zone. So this is what we should be looking at for. Then target at least minimum of 1:3, or we can decide to target what this low. So this is what we have on Ethereum. Let's check out Solana and BNB. So hope it's copied, please. Alright, so looking at Solana, so let's look at Solana on the 4 hours. So here on the 4 hours, we have this other block. This was what our change of character. This was what our break of structure. This is what liquidity at this point. Let's look at the 1 hour. So here on the 1 hour, let's refine our zone to the downside. So on the 1 hour time frame, all we have here is what our liquidity. This is our liquidity. Now, what can you see at this our point of interest? You can see this nice momentum to the upside. What? And we have what this imbalance line here. Then what? This other block. So we want to actually see this price drop all the way to this our point of interest, and we'll be looking at for what a buy on what Solana to the upside. Let's look at BNB very quick because we've not looked at any of the Forex pair. BNB will just be looking at it from maybe the 1 hour or 4 hours. Okay, so everything's still intact. So this was our last analysis on BTC. Sorry, this was our last analysis on BNB for last week, where we had this other block, our inducement, and we're expecting this price to drop into this zone. This was our last week market breakdown, and you can see that Monday, a bit on Tuesday, price tapped into this other block, and what we expected it all the way to the downside. This trade gave almost at least a 1:3, depending on your own risk reward ratio. But based on mine, this was like a 1:3. So what did you see? Market came back into what this supply. You can see this supply. The market came back into, there was what a fair value gap above this what liquidity point. You see the massive movement to the downside, and price is what also selling to the downside. So what do you want to see from this current price action? From this current price action, this is our target. We want to see BNB take out this point. And if you actually want to have a very high risk reward ratio, always try to what? Try to target something that is very, very realistic. Yes, you know that BNB is bearish. You don't end up targeting below this. No. always try to target the most recent low or something. So from this price action, what are we expecting now? We want to see BNB what? If there's an upside movement, we want to see a correctional movement into this zone. We already have our what? Liquidity at these highs. So we want to see price take them out. We want to see price take this liquidity out before what? Continue to the downside. So we are bearish on BNB. You can still have what possible retracement to the upside before continuation, or price can still what continue to the downside. But if price comes back to this point, then you should be looking out for what possible what sells to the downside. So this is what we want to see. Maybe a correctional movement to this point, and what this low is our target. And don't forget, when targeting your what most recent low or most recent high, you have what this should always be like your first target. This current low should be your first target. Then what dropping down, this should be your second target, just like what I marked on the BTC for last week. And when you set your take profit in this part, maybe something like price moving from this point to this point, you can decide to maybe move your break even to like 50% of your profit. Then when price takes out this low and move down again, you can still hold it at maybe the 50%. When price gets to this point, you can now move your break even to this low or to this point, then waiting for it to what come back to this point. Because if price should return back to this point, this from year to year, and maybe your SL should be like let's say more than 1:3. Let's check it out here. This should be like 1:3. Let's put our target on this line to actually see a stop loss at this candle wick. Okay, this is 2.7. So this is like almost 1:4. So I think this is like a better risk reward ratio. But if you also get this 2.7 or 2.8, it's still not a bad one. Having 1:2.7 is still on a very good side. So let's quickly look at good. Let's quickly look at good. Wow. All right. So we'll look at gold from the 4 hours to actually understand where price is heading to. But from what we are seeing, you can see that what the push to the upside is massive. Which tells you that what gold is what super bullish. Now looking at the 4 hours, time frame, what can we see? Gold is what currently at what a supply zone. But let's look at what price will be doing on what the 1 hour time frame. On the 4 hours, gold is currently sitting at what the supply zone, and this was from last week or from last 2 weeks. We were waiting for what price to actually come back into the zone, which was failed. From the last week market breakdown, I said it about this zone for me is what is an inducement. So you should be careful if you're taking a sell from this one, because we have this supply zone, which I was expecting price to actually come back to this one. And when you have two zones, always know that the first one is what is an inducement or what liquidity. So you have to be very, very careful when you have two zones very, very close, coupled with the fact that we had this fair value gap sitting at this point above what this high. So you see, when price came into it, price expected it a little bit to the downside, and I was actually looking out for a break below this line that I drew here, but price didn't give me, because if I had a break below this point, this will have confirmed or given me what a bearish sentiment, why I should actually what take this sell to the downside. But what there was no confirmation, which tells you that what the price is still bullish. Even when price got to this point, I was still looking at for maybe price taking at this low, but what the price continued to the upside. So now let's look at what we have and what we can make out of gold for the gold traders in the house. So where is our first point of interest? Looking at, let me take out everything. Looking at the most recent price action on the 1 hour, what do you want to see? First, this is the last order block we had at this point. We had this break of structure to the upside. We had another word, break of structure to the upside. We had this break of structure to the upside at this point. And here is what? Here is our inducement. Want to see price come back into. And if you must trade from this zone, if you are considering this as your order block, make sure you're using a lower time frame entry. Maybe you're trading from a 5 minutes or 15 minutes so that maybe you can get here quick take profit before maybe the market will take out this zone. So this is what we want to see on gold for the gold traders or those interested in looking for what buy setup on gold. And don't forget, gold is currently at what a supply zone from what we saw on the what on the 4 hours. Let's see if we can get a clear picture of that on the 1 hour. All right, so we are currently what sitting at what a supply zone. So you can't actually put your sell order because what the momentum I'm seeing in the candlestick is still very, very massive. So you have to be very, very careful. If you want to look at for sell, it should be with what entry confirmation, maybe what on the 15 minutes. Make sure you get a what clear change of market structure, something like this on the 15 minutes. Price sweeping what this the high, coming back to what take out what this low, then what should get some form of inducement to the downside. Then when it returns back to this point, look for what possible sell to the downside. You have to be very, very careful because momentum I'm seeing gold pushing up with, we might likely have another what new all-time high. So you have to be very, very careful taking this. And if you're taking this sell, it should be a very quick one where you just cap and you leave the market. All right, so let's look at USD JPY. We've not taken any trade on USD JPY for the past 2 weeks now. Not taking any trade. So we'll just look at 4 hours because we don't have time. So we'll just the 4 hours time frame. So looking at the 4 hours time frame, what do you want to see? So from the 4 hours, we already have what? This was where we had the last massive push to the upside at this point. At this point. And this was what our other block at this point. So on the 4 hours, you can see that we've already been what tapped in at this point on the 4 hours. So we'll go down to 2 hours or 1 hour time frame to actually what get a precise entry on the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour time frame, let's refine this zone to 1 hour. So on the 1 hour time frame, this is what our other block sitting here. So we'll extend it to the right hand side at this point. So let's look at the internal price movement. This point has been mitigated. This point has been mitigated, which tells you that what this is what an inducement for us. We have this inducement here sitting at this low. These are inducements. So if we extend this further, this tells you that what we have this liquidity resting at this low. So what do you want to see? We want to see this price drop all the way to this point. And where is our target? This is our first target, because this is where we had what a massive push to the downside. So we actually want to see this price come back into this point before what heading to this point. So our buy order is here. For those on the Telegram group, you can see that we've already shared this setup. That was like last 2 weeks or last week. So it's still a valid setup because what price has not gotten to this point, neither this point. So when it gets to this point, we want to actually see what we'll get. Maybe with entry confirmation, we can decide to take a sell. But for now, we want to see this price come back all the way to this point. So continue what the buy to the upside. Now, why are we taking this buy here? We have this liquidity sitting at this low. We have this inducement. Then we have this fair value gap. There's a fair value gap at this point. So, and we also see that what there is a strong momentum we had at this point, this reaction to the upside. So, with these confluences, this should be able to give us what a good buy entry at this point to actually what push this price all the way to this point. And if you look at this point, you will see that what this should be like our overall swing bias. This should be our overall point of interest where we should be targeting. So let's get to see what price does within this week at this point or at this point. So for now, all fingers crossed, there is no setup except this pending order on USD JPY, and I think we have another pending order on GBP JPY. So let's look at GBP JPY. All right. So on GBP JPY, there's no point taking out this. Everything still remains what intact. So we just go with the flow. Okay, so don't forget we had this pending order block, and this liquidity at this point, we're expecting this price to just drop to this point. Then we'll take what a buy order, but the price came very close and what left this zone, and we still have what this sell order at this point. How did we come about this sell order? If you look at this point, we have what overall change of character to the downside. And where is the origin? This is the origin. We have our liquidity sitting here. This was what the last low, which I was expecting what this price to actually what continue to this point, come back to what take out this low, then what mitigate this zone. After this mitigation, which we're expecting what a price to continue to the upside. And don't forget, if you mitigate this zone before mitigating this one, then this sell what becomes what invalid. But for now, since we've not mitigated this zone, this sell is still what valid. But we'll be taking it with what entry confirmation. We'll be taking it with entry confirmation. First, what are we going to be looking at? We are going to look at what the momentum of the candlestick. The momentum of the candlestick that will be approaching this zone. If the price action approaching this zone comes with what a very bolder or stronger momentum approaching what this sell zone, then we will have to what wait for what 15 minutes confirmation to actually take the sell. But if you notice that the price action approaching this zone slows down a bit, which shows that what there is weakness in price, then we can decide to go in what entry confirmation. Whatever is the case, I will still update the Telegram channel. So let's move over to something else, maybe USD card or USD CHF, because we still have like 10 minutes more. All right, let's look at GBP USD. So looking at GBP USD, let's step down to the 2 hours or 4 hours, because I don't want to go down to the daily time frame. The time we have, so we'll be able to make good use of it. All right. So previously we had this high. We have this high sitting here, and we had this was supply zone, which price tapped into. This was the supply zone. And price was responded to the downside, which we had all of this push to the downside. Now, if you look at this point, this liquidity was taken out. After this liquidity was taken out, what did you notice? Price reacted to the downside. So was our price intention? Looking at these 2 hours, this was the what? Last massive high we had to the downside. Sorry, I'm seeing something. Okay. There is this little price action here. There's this little high. Let's go down to the 1 hour to actually see that properly. Okay, yeah. So there's this little high, and that high took out what? That high took out this low at this point. So this was where we had the last break of structure. So this pushing up gave us what? A change of character to the upside. To the upside. So what was our target for this GBP? So for now, where is our trading range? We have this range. This is our range, and we have this also as what? As the other block we should be expecting price to come back into, following the fact that we have this change of character. Price was also able to take out this high, and this is what our liquidity. We have this as our liquidity. Having this as our liquidity, we want to see this price come back into this zone and continue to the upside. If you look to the left, I think what we are having more is what? Liquidity. Because it seems all the zones has been mitigated. So we are not having any fair value gap or point we should be looking out for. Looking out for a sell on GBP JPY. So I think I'll be more bullish on GBP JPY than looking out for a sell. I'll be more bullish because this zone has been mitigated. This price tapped into this zone. So this has been mitigated. So all the fair value gap has been used, except price just wants to steal. So this is what we have on 4 hours. So if you see on 4 hours, you can see that what? This other block here has been mitigated. You can see that it has been mitigated, which tells you that what? There's a high tendency that this price might likely continue to the upside, and if there should be any reaction to the downside or price trying to respect any high, this is what we should be looking out for. Maybe possibly this price running into this zone and continue to the downside, or price setting a trap, either what? Sweeping something like this, then what? Sweep this point, then what? Give us a possible change of character, and we'll now look for continuation to the downside. But for now, this is the zone we want to see price gets to. But if this price gets to this point, then this zone becomes invalid. This zone becomes invalid. So for now, all fingers crossed. But if the price can continue from this point to this down, like having something like this, let's say we'll have something like this, then we should be looking out for a possible buy to this. So that's our bias. So all fingers crossed, there is no immediate or market order on on GU, there is no immediate market order. And if you also go down to the 1 hour, you also see that what is what liquidity, and this is where we should be looking out for possible what buy to the upside. And why are we targeting this point? You already see that what you have relative equal highs at this point, which tells you that what markets should be able to take out this high, because that's how our liquidity is resting at this point. Now, if you don't want to mark the chart this way, or buy order, this is what you should possibly do. Place your buy at this point with entry confirmation. So this is what your chart should look like if you are targeting this buy, and your stop loss right below this. So this is like 1:6 plus. So you target this high because this is the most recent high that if this price is to respect this zone, at least the price should get to this high. And from this point to this point should be maybe you moving your break even below this low if you want to still be greedy to this point. But I believe someone that be able to see 1:6 to this point, there is no point trying to target this extra 2% again above. So with this, you should be able to let go of this. So this should look, or this should give you a more better and precise take profit. So this is possibly what we should be looking out for on GU. So let's take a quick look at Euro USD and maybe USD CHF. I think for next week we'll look at more of what other pairs. Alright, so looking at the Euro USD on the 4 hours time frame, what can we see? First, we have what this supply is sitting here, which tells you that what market is trying to aim at this supply. And let's go down to the 1 hour to see if that supply will be taken out, because if you look at that supply, you have this liquidity resting at this point, which tells you that if that supply is being taken out, market should likely what continue to the upside. Let's step down to the 1 hour to actually get a precise market entry. We'll be able to get one. Alright, so this market approached this zone and what continued to the downside, took out what this point. I think as of Monday, this point was unmitigated, and I said something like, if you know you are putting your order block at this point, better remove it, because what market is going to take it out. And you can see this point was taken out. So let's look at this leg of price to actually see if we'll get what a better entry. So at this point, I think the most recent order block I'm seeing here is this is what I can see at this point. So this price should be able to fall back to this point and price continue to this point, but you can see that the price is already reacting to this minor supply. But this is what an inducement zone. This is what the main supply should be looking at for price to actually react from. So if the price is able to retrace to the downside before tapping here, then we should be able to take what, because this is what an inducement here. Then you have what your fair value gap, this nice momentum to the other side. So we should be able to see price come back into this point and but if the price gets to this supply first, if this price gets to this supply before here, then we should be looking at for what sell confirmation on what the 15 minutes. So on GBP USD, Euro USD, fingers crossed, you don't need to rush the market. Don't forget, not trading is also what trading, and you just need just one good setup for the week. And you're good to go. It's just like last week, we had one stop loss on BTC buy, and towards the weekend we had another sell on BTC. The BTC buy we lost 1%. On the sell we made 4.8. So you can imagine having 4.8. That means we were able to close the week with what? 3.8. So you just need to just one good setup. And for those that actually want to take aggressive sell on this pair to the downside, your stop loss, make sure your stop loss is up to this high. Your stop loss should be up to something like this. If your buy is here, your stop loss should be at this line or a little bit above it, because what? If you go to the 4 hours, all of these points contributed to what? Your order block. But when you refine it, this is where you have the precise order block. So your SST has to be above this point. If you check my analysis, I do drop here or share on the Telegram, you always see that what? My sell is always below or above my last candle week. That's because what? I always take in what? Liquidity consideration when marking my zone. So I think that's all. I already mentioned USD card, so maybe we'll just take a quick look at USD card or USD CHF before we end it for today. All right. So a quick one on USD card. Let's look at the most recent price action on USD card. First, where is this price reacting from? Okay. So on USD card, I think the price is reacting from this other block, and let's see if that's a valid point for price to actually react from. Let's look at this together. Okay, so if we look at where this price is reacting from, we can see that there's a fair value gap, and that's why the price was able to come back, having this relative equal lows. See, if you are able to understand liquidity, see, you're already ahead of a lot of traders in the market. You can see we have this equal lows. So, and there's a fair value gap. So just combining your fair value gap, your momentum, and liquidity, get like your A plus setup will be massive. Your A plus there's no magic. There's no magic to this thing. Just understand simple liquidity concept. I will always say liquidity is the bedrock of any price action. Okay, so looking at this point, this price is actually reacting from this zone. So for us to actually look at for maybe possible buy continuation, it should be able to take out this. It should be able to take out this high, and taking at this high, then you look for the nearest other block to actually ride the price to the upside, because we have a lot of fair value gap to actually fill at this point, and there's another impulsive movement to this side. Forget about anything that concerns you selling at this point. I think a lot will be disclosed in the upcoming empowerment class I'm thinking of hosting for this year, for end of year. I'll be going for 3 months. It's a free class, so if you know you want to improve yourself and you want to gain knowledge, you have people you want to come to take this knowledge from us for free, I and my team, please make sure when the class is available, they do well to sign up for the class. It's a free class and it's going for 3 months. Free class, beginner to advanced. Come and learn and come and understand how to be a better trader using just simple liquidity concept. You don't need to complicate it. You don't need to find out. You don't need to do drawing up and down. So we'll be ending it here today, and I believe we are all on my broadcast list and on the Telegram group. So once the link for the class is available within this week or next, I will do share with us, and those that are interested, please do well to make good use of this opportunity, because you don't know when I'll be doing the next free classes again, because this is like my own way of saying thanks to the community, thank God for a successful year, and I can't do it better than empowering other people I can't do it than what? Empowering other traders or other newbies to be a better trader. That's it. I know what I'm giving at, and I'm giving it out for free. So please do well towards make good use of this opportunity. All right. So we'll end it here for today. Let's drop some fire emoji in the comment section. If today live section was amazing, if it was inspiring, if you got value from it, please let me know in the comment section before we end it here today, please. Let me get, if you got value, if you were able to understand one or two from this live section today, please let me know in the comment section before we end it here. Let me know, what did you benefit from today's live section? Was there anything? Let me know in the comment section before we end it here today. All right, so once the flyer and the link is available, we'll all make it available to the public. It will also be shared on the YouTube channel, Telegram channel. For those on the broadcast list, it will also be shared to them. And my team too also do well to also share it out to make it available for everyone. At least our target is to empower at least 500 to 1,000 Nigerians to be a better trader. So make sure you make good use of this opportunity. It's free. It's free. Unlike other free classes you attend, and they will just do basic introduction to trading, and after the free classes they will not tell you, okay, to continue with the advanced class you should pay. We are giving out everything for free. Everything. I know it will sound so unbelievable and unrealistic to you're hearing for the first time someone saying beginner to advanced free. We are giving it as for free. So come join us for this 3 months class, and what I promise you, after this 3 months, you will see a lot of improvement in your trading. All right, so we'll end it here, traders, today. See you same time next week, Monday, 7 a.m. Thank you for showing up, and do well. Have a blessed month and a blessed week ahead. All right, bye. All right.